Hi, my name is Judith Atibi, and welcome to Masobe Authors Roundtable.
And I am emeka-nkwor, the author of What Happened to Janet Uzo.
Damilare Kuku, author of Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad.
My name is emeka-nkwor. I'm the author of Broken People's Playlist.
I am TJ Benson, the author of The Madhouse and People Live Here.
Bina Idonije, the author of Bridges Are for Burning.
We kickstart things today and we'll be talking about writing, publishing, and storytelling when it comes to the African space and how Masobe is crafting and probably curating the sounds or the stories that they would like to tell when it comes to African literature. So if you've heard from all the authors, the first question I would like to ask you guys is just to spruce things up nicely on the table and to make everyone happy and smile. If you were to be on an island, no access to the world, and you only have access to one book, think very carefully. What would that book be? TJ.
Easy. Star Book by Ben Ukri.
Why? I just knew you were going to say Ben. I thought in my mind there's going to be Ben Okri. But why?
Star Book has everything. It has romance, has magic, everything I look for in stories.
Do you think the magic surrealism has sort of affected your, kind of influenced your writing as well?
In some ways, I guess. But it's more about fantasy than even magical realism, the things he did in Star Book. So yeah, I would be in an island with Star Book.
Nice. Chaka?
Cheers, ladies.
Well, you're next to me, so you go next.
Okay, so Diaries of a Dead African by Chima Nwokolo, who I think is arguably the best living writer in Nigeria, and I say it everywhere. The book has a lot of dark humor, so if I'm stuck in an island, you know, I'll need a lot of dark humor to get me through. And it's a very funny book, and it's a very tragic book, and it's just a fantastic book. It's a novella, sort of like three parts. It's about a father and his two sons and all the things that happen to them.
Would you say that the style of writing and the themes in the book has sort of influenced your writing as well?
Not necessarily influenced, but it is you know, I just really enjoy his way of his way of storytelling. He's one of those writers who is a hybrid between he's very good with words and he's a fantastic storyteller, and he has this dry humor that is like, you know, like I enjoy. So
have you been able to replicate that into your writing?
I can't copy it, you know, so you can, you know, there's one of those things, you know, I can't really copy, but I just enjoy it, and I just talk my hat, and I keep saying, look, that man, we should give him his flowers, you know, he's a fantastic guy.
All right.
Chuma Nwokolo, that's the name.
Chuma Nwokolo.
Yeah.
Make that note. Well, Ida.
Does it have to be a literary book?
And what? Not necessarily. So you just have one book, but it doesn't have to be literature or fiction.
Okay, if I was stuck in an island and I had to have one book, I would probably say the Bible, only because it has 66 chapters of different stories, stories of resilience, stories of forgiveness, stories of betrayal, all kinds of stories. So I think it's an eclectic mix, and you probably want to be in a certain state of mind if you're alone in an island, and so I'll probably choose that because I guess it will elevate my spirituality.
Aha, I see. I mean, Damilare, you've been nodding the whole time, so would that be the same for you?
Oh, well, yes, I agree with her, but since she's picked the Bible, if
you can still pick, it doesn't matter.
If I'm stuck on an island by myself, I would probably take my book, because I put a lot of effort into that book. Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad, and yes, I'd like to read that every day.
Is it as a sense of accomplishment for things that you've done?
No, not necessarily.
Or an anchor to remind yourself of who you were? Because you're going to be the only person on that island.
Yeah, and that's why I don't mind reading what I wrote. Because it's a collection of stories about strong women, and drawing from the strength of these people. For each story, I'm able to say, okay, if these people survive this, I think somebody's going to eventually find me and pick me up from this island. So yeah, it would definitely be my book. But if I got like, oh, okay, you have an extra choice.
Well, you don't have an extra choice.
I'm just saying,
I mean,
if I had an extra choice.
Well, everyone else would have fixed a second.
I mean, you have to push if you don't ask. Someone I know once said to me that you'd have to ask. There's no harm in asking. So I'm saying if I get an extra, I would take Chimeka Garrick's Tomorrow Died Yesterday, because I think he's perhaps one of the best writers I have come across.
Oh, wow. Well, I mean, does that...
You're welcome.
Would you say that reading that book as well also influenced your writing? What did you take out of it?
Okay, so I remember when I read Tomorrow Died Yesterday, I was part of a book club, and I remember immediately I was done. I just typed in the group. I said, who is this person? How is this person able to write this? How is this person able to just draw out emotions? And I went online, Googled him, looked for him, found him. I think I probably stalked him for like a little while. I followed him everywhere. I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say it's that one that influenced me. I would say a Broken People's Playlist. You know, you'd see a few like just little bits of Chimeka Garrick's in the writing.
Yeah, but when you decided to join Masobe, when you sent in your submission for Masobe, was Chimeka also one of the...
I didn't know he was. I had no idea. So, first of all, I'm a big fan of all the writers on the Masobe family, right? Because I think they're all superstars, and you guys are like the future of literature, including me. But I heard about it after I met with Masobe, and I was looking, they were so kind. Like, I'm always saying that I don't think there's anyone that is as kind as Masobe to say, okay, we're going to find you someone. And they were like, oh, so who's this writer you really like? I'm like, oh, I'm such a big fan of Chimeka Garrick's. I would literally, you know, kill to have him. It's like, oh, Chimeka is part of us. I'm like, I mean, like, do you know him personally? Or is it like someone you said, like, no, it's a person. And I remember they reached out to him. He reached out to me and said, hey, do you need help? I'm like, why are you asking me that? Of course I need help. So, and I remember the first 2 meetings, I was gassing out, like major gassing out. Because it's one thing to...
autographs at this point.
Thank goodness for makeup, because I'm blushing. But go on.
So, but that's about it. So
continue to inflate my head while I read.
Miracle, you're the last person. What book would you take on that island?
Not to spoil the show though, but how long am I going to be stuck on this island?
Forever, like.
And I should read one book.
I'm sorry,
forever.
but that's the choice. That's the
Can I pick an author and
pick a book?
Okay, I would go for Dead Famous by Ben Elton. He is, sorry. That book was mad. Is it good to you? I mean, when someone blends suspense and humor so well, like you're laughing and then you're tense and you're like, I've never read a book where, okay, I'm a mystery writer, yes, and most mystery novels start with the victim. Yeah. And then you're like, who killed him, who killed her? But this guy did not tell me I knew who the victim. We were already pitying the victim from the first page. I mean, can you imagine, okay, this time, this guy didn't let us know who the victim was until about page 100 and something. And I was still shocked. Like, I don't know how he does it. And even at the very end, I still could, that guy, he wrote a masterpiece, and I think almost all his works are masterpieces as well. But since you won't let me take one author, I would just pick Dead Famous.
If you had one question, if you had the chance to ask this author a question, what would that question be?
How do you do it? Like, how can you make me so tense, and then you're making me laugh, and then you're making me wonder, and then you're making me suspect it's like Big Brother Naija now. So it's more like everybody's a killer, and then you don't know who did anything. How can you do that?
Did the style influence you when it comes to writing as well? Did you learn anything with reading that book?
Yes, I did. I learned that, you don't have to feel so tense when writing. So I was able to be more expressive after reading his book. I was able to be freer. I didn't have to keep myself holed up you're writing a mystery novel, make sure everybody's tense. Like, I got free with it, and That was it.
You also kind of think it's a great choice. Why do you say that?
Yes, so Ben Elton is one of my big influences. He's a British writer, and he's very funny, and he writes about societal issues, but he's always like, putting something funny about it. So from him, I learned how to write. I learned how to use humor. So you know how I say this thing, like, when my mom was a nurse, and she always gave me, like, I was a bit of a sickly child, and she always gave me lots of like injections and tablets and all that. But for certain tablets, she would put it inside Gary, she would wrap it inside Gary and put it, because it was bitter. It had this bitter aftertaste. So I learned how to write with humor like that. So whenever I'm writing something, is a trick I learned from Ben Elton. Whenever I'm writing something deep, something like, sad and all that, I will try to find, something. Sometimes it's black humor, you understand, but I just try to put something there, to like put it like a pill there, so for people to swallow. It's one of the things I learned from him. Understand?